Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video, but I am back. We should be doing videos together here later today, hopefully. We're going to talk about Paramount, we're going to talk about Skydance, we're going to talk about this merger. It is happening, guys, it's happening. They're going to merge, and they're still open to selling off assets. So I have to wonder which assets they're willing to sell off. Now, what's interesting about Skydance, if you go out to their website, you'll see that they actually have quite the history with Paramount. In fact, a lot of their movies were distributed through Paramount. Top Gun Maverick, Transformers, the ill-fated Snake Eyes, the underrated Netflix Adam Project movie. I thought that was actually pretty okay. But they've worked with Paramount before. So this isn't anything new. You know, Mission Impossible, Star Trek Beyond, which I was surprised. I forgot Skydance was even associated with that one. I watched it like one time. It wasn't terrible, but it was okay. But we're going to talk about this because there definitely is a history here. So I'm not sure that on the surface we're really going to see much of a difference. It just sounds to me like Skydance is going to probably just take over the IP and make movies and TV shows themselves. Now I have to wonder what happens to Paramount Plus. That's kind of the big question, and that one's not doing so hot. So it's possible that they could just shut it down or just kick all the Paramount stuff over to Netflix or Hulu, or they were talking about HBO Max or whatever. I don't know yet. Now remember, Paramount does own MTV, they own Nickelodeon, they own a bunch of TV stations, on top of Star Trek or whatever. So I don't know what's going to be sold, but we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. This come from CNN. Paramount, the media empire behind CBS and Top Gun, agrees to merge with Skydance. Paramount, the sprawling global media empire behind CBS, MTV, and one of Hollywood's most storied movie studios, which they talk about selling, by the way. They're going to sell the Paramount lot. Whatever's not nailed down, that's crazy. They've agreed to merge with technology scion David Ellison's Skydance Media, ending years of speculation over the company's fate. The deal, announced late Sunday, comes just weeks after a previous offer from Ellison to acquire Paramount collapsed, stunning industry observers and raising questions about the beleaguered media company's future. The agreement cements Ellison as a media mogul, ending Sherry Redstone's control of Paramount through her family's National Amusements holding company after her father, Sumner Redstone, won a fierce bidding war to piece together the media conglomerate in the 1980s. The complicated transaction will see Skydance first buy National Amusements, then merge with Paramount, valuing Skydance at $4.75 billion. Ellison's production company will invest $2.4 billion to acquire National Amusements for cash and $4.5 billion for the stock cash merger consideration to be paid for publicly traded Class A shares and Class B shares and blah, 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 blah. The combined company will be helmed by Ellison as CEO and former NBC Universal chief Jeff Shell as president. That's interesting. In a call with investors Monday morning, Ellison and Shell laid out their strategy for Paramount, aiming to become a technological leader in the streaming space. So, okay, they're not getting rid of Paramount Plus, I guess. Announcing a reorganization plan that will include $2 billion in cost cuts. If it ain't nailed down, they're going to sell it, and we're going to talk about that here later. I think a lot of people are going to be out of work now. The one bright spot at Skydance right now, at least in terms of names attached, is animation. Skydance is ramping up its animation, and John Lasseter, who was pushed out of Disney and Pixar, is in charge of that. And he actually took a bunch of Disney vets with him. Now, what's really interesting, we talked about this in other videos, was that the head of animation at Paramount refused to work with Predator John Lasseter, even though I don't know exactly what the deal was with him. Like, he hugged people. Disney didn't fire him on the spot. They left him ride out his contract. So I don't know what's up with it. I don't know specifically what happened. I think there were people, personal opinion, I think there were people at Disney who didn't like him, and they saw an opportunity to get rid of him because, everybody could get Me Too'd in 2017, 2018, right? You could be like, hey, that guy just looked at me weird. Oh, okay, fired. You're a middle-aged white man. Yeah, you're fired. Goodbye. Goodbye. Anyway, they said, we love the creative engine of the company, but obviously a big chunk of the company is in the linear world, and we know that linear is challenged and declining. I think a lot of us in the business know we've got to run these businesses in a different way as they decline. The deal caps a tumultuous and protracted saga that began December. They began negotiations in April, and they ousted the chief then, Bob Bakish. And they have Brian Robbins, Chris McCarthy, and George Cheeks are running it now. Not to be confused with Master Cheeks. That's his son. While legacy media companies have struggled in recent years, Paramount, with its extensive portfolio of cable channels, including MTV and Comedy Central, has been heavily exposed to the earth-shaking consumer shift away from shitty programming. No, from the traditional television model to streaming. Yeah, it said Paramount Plus is not doing well. They said it was too late to the game. The iconic company's valuation has plunged. Shares of Paramount have fallen more than 75% in 5 years. Wow. They said in recent months, as takeover offers for Paramount began to once again heat up, Sony Pictures and the private equity firm Apollo Global Management offered $26 billion. That would have made Sony the majority shareholder and the Apollo the minority shareholder. But the deal would have resulted in the breakup of Paramount, prospect that Redstone rejected. Interesting. So they might sell stuff off, though. So this is also coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Skydance team will be supportive of Paramount selling off some assets. And so there are assets here which we think are not strategic to where we're going, and if we were to get a buyer to pay a price that we thought was compelling, we would absolutely do that, Shell said. And we know current management is also talking about a couple of transactions that, if they get the right price, will be supportive of. Could they be selling off like Nickelodeon assets? Could they be selling off? I mean, if they want to get into streaming, they need content, right? They've dropped the ball with Star Trek. They definitely dropped the ball with Halo. I mean, there's a lot of things I can think of they could offload and make some money. After the deal closes, Paramount plans to acquire Skydance with Shell as president. They said, yeah, that they are definitely open to selling stuff. So there are going to be a lot of cost cuts. There are going to be a lot of people lose their jobs. I think we're going to see a lot of screaming and wailing and gnashing of teeth on social media as people have their deals canceled, as people get ousted from whatever positions they were in. This is part of M&A. But this is also kind of like Endstage Hollywood, right? I mean, we said in another episode that Hollywood is being torn down and sold for scrap. And we have another tech company. Basically, this guy's all about tech, Skydance. And they're buying Paramount, which is a massive piece of Hollywood history. And they were even talking they would sell off the lot. Like, I don't think they have the sentimental attachment to this stuff that Hollywood does. And I have to wonder if a lot of what's going on now with the strikes and AI and all that, it's going to be kind of like for nothing. Because I think that once tech companies own the entertainment industry, it's going to change everything, and how we consume and what we consume. It's going to be changed. I think that the days of the movie star are over. I don't think people care anymore. I think that the glitz and glamour is gone. People lost interest in Hollywood decades ago, I think, and we've just been kind of coasting on fumes. It's just old Hollywood is never going to come back. And now people think of Hollywood and they think of a lot of weirdos with activist hot takes and people who are completely out of touch with normal people, everyday people. And the gods have been made mortal, right? I know a lot of other people have said that, but that is kind of what is going to happen. And I think 10 years from now, it's going to be really interesting to look at the entertainment industry and be like, do we even call that Hollywood anymore? Because I don't know if it's going to be Hollywood. I think the entertainment industry is going to be spread out all over the world, and they're going to make content for streaming apps and mobile devices and televisions and whatever it is that people are viewing content on. But I don't think it's going to be centralized in Hollywood like it was before. I mean, I could be wrong, but we're seeing a lot of companies like even Disney moving productions to Canada, and Skydance, talking about Skydance, most of their job listings for animation are in Spain. Now, it could be because they have, the one guy who worked with Disney, the director, he worked on Klaus, and his company is in Spain. But it does seem like just in general, it seems like everybody's kind of moving productions out of Hollywood. They're not centralizing things anymore, and the tech companies don't care. They don't care. They have no attachment to this stuff. They really, truly do not care. They'll buy it up, and if it's cheaper to make it in India, they'll do it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. It's gonna be really interesting to watch. But there we go, guys. Endstage Hollywood, Paramount getting gobbled up by Skydance, which is owned by a tech mogul, and the mergers and acquisitions will continue, and it's definitely going to be Highlander. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.